Chris Lovell here with another edition of Pirate Talk, right here with my man Will Flemons, the head coach of the Cooper Boys basketball program. It is hoop season. The weather's changing. A little starting to get a little chillier, a little moisture in the air, all those kinds of things. Leaves are changing colors, and basketballs hopefully will be going in the hoop over at Cooper High School rather soon. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm awesome. You know, like you said.
You always are. Yeah.
Well, it's hoop time, so we're excited. Just excited about this year's team.
You have, and it's funny because I talked to Coach Isler. I've talked to the two folks at Liberty. They're all new. You're the one person in basketball in the district. You've been here, but you kind of have a feel for what you have coming back. I mean, before we get into kind of players on your team and all that, let's talk a few things. Have you decided to do anything differently schematically? Every coach always looks at different things like, how can we do this better? You know what, this didn't work or whatever. Have you tweaked anything there? With what you can say. We don't want to give away any trade secrets or anything. But
well, it's kind of like after our last game against Emerald High, I took a week off and started watching film. What are we doing? What do we have to get better about?
You can get some 6'5" kids that can shoot it and make it every time like Emerald High has.
No doubt, that'd be nice.
Start, but that's not how it works. Yeah.
But, it's one of those things we're looking at how the dynamics of our team is this year. We don't have as much size as we've had in the past, but we got skill players. And so everybody that we put out on the floor can handle basketball and can take the ball off the backboard and dribble it down the floor. So we got to use that to our advantage. We got to push the basketball as much as possible and hopefully get some easy buckets in transition. I think we can get up and down the floor better than we have in the last 4 or 5 years.
That makes for a fun style. I remember Coach Lovern last year, he had to tweak his offense and lost some size, and they just kind of was like, okay, we're going to press, we're going to get up and down the floor. You had a bigger physical team, I think, last year. But, yeah, there's some of these young men that I'm familiar with and that you've coached for several years now that, yeah, man, let's go. Let's get up and down the floor. Your schedule is interesting because – You will be somebody's going to be driving a bus a lot, but there was a lot of home games last year. Amarillo came to Lubbock. Friendship came over here. There was a variety of the non-district games were home games.
Right.
Guess what that means the following year?
Flip it.
But wheels on the bus go around, right? And so. Take me through that dynamic because that's you knew that was going to be the case, but yeah, take me through that.
It's one of those things where we've got kind of a veteran team coming back because we've got quite a few players that played some varsity minutes. So I'm not so worried about being on the road. We got some mixture of some young guys that didn't play a lot and some is just green. So this is going to help. We're going to learn where we are early, especially anytime if you start out on the road, you're going to have to be sharp and you have to be on your game. You have to be focused. Like I said, we started our first game at Tascosa. It is going to be a heated place, and it's just kind of what we need. We need to make sure we're playing as tough a schedule for that December 19th game against the Lubbock High. So it's going to work in our favor in that sense. We need this tough road test early to see where we are. And we got, some tournaments on the road, and it's going to be a great year for us. I really believe that because we got some guys that's been in the program, and they should know what I need and want and what the team needs and wants, and they should know their roles.
You do something interesting, and I don't know, like if you do this with everybody every year or if it's just new guys or whatever, but I'll let you kind of explain it. But I've always thought this is fascinating, and I think it's a great practice. Anybody that's on your team, you will go set up, I guess, I don't know if it's dinner or just a meeting or whatever, but you'll go to, it's almost like you're doing a recruiting visit. But you go meet with player and mom and dad and on their turf. And you talk about, well, I'll just let you kind of explain. Why do you do that? Where did you get that? What all goes on there with what you can share?
Well, when you think about parents, we're all parents. I'm dealing with their most prized possession. Okay, I want them to feel like he's a part of our family because he is. So when you go in there, you're opening yourself up. They're opening themselves up because they're letting you in their home, and you're discussing how we want to help your young man become better, whether playing half the game, playing 3/4 of the game or whatever, we're going to make him better. And it's not all about basketball. I think that's the biggest key. We love your kid more so than basketball. We want him to be successful first and foremost. We want him to have those great morals. You know, how many life lessons do you learn in basketball? I mean, you can't tell me if you play sports you're going to get along with your teammates all the time. But how do you get past that? You know, so we talk about all those things when we go into the home, and I like to see how the kids and their parents interact. That's important for me. I may have told you this, but long ago when my oldest son went to Duke camp and we got a chance to sit down with Coach K, and you know, he always get these top recruits, but his biggest recruiting tool was, I want to go in, I want to see how they interact with their parents. If they're the slightest bit disrespectful, I'm not going to take them. And that's huge for me. And you know how that is. We're raising family in today's time where sometimes the morals doesn't seem like it's here. That's huge for me. And I'm old fashioned, you know, yes ma'am, no ma'am, and respect. That's huge for me. And I think if you can have those type of things embedded in you that you've grown up with, you're gonna have a pretty good opportunity to be successful in life.
Yeah, because, you know, Gerald Myers probably taught you everything from how to spike a sport coat to to being on time.
Oh yes, most definitely.
But, you know, and those are things that you, absolutely, not the spike in the sport coat part, but like the being on, like punctuality and all those, absolutely, things. Yeah, I love that. I think that's really well done on your part. You know, everybody in the city is gonna know when they talk about Cooper basketball these last couple of years, it starts with Amari. And I think he's earned that, and I think he gets some credit there. I think that people want him to kind of continue to be more consistent. I know you're in that camp. I think that he shows these flashes. Take me through Amari, because this is his last go round here.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, we had a great talk, and he came in my office about a couple of days ago, and he sat down on my couch. He goes, "Coach Flemons." I'm like, "Yes, Amari." He goes, "You're right." Okay, you got to be a little bit more specific here. He goes, "You told me it's going to pass by so quickly." I said, "It does. It does." I said, "1 minute you think, oh, I'm just finally opening the door, and now the next minute you're going out the door." For Amari to be Amari, one of the things we've talked about, quit putting so much pressure on yourself. Do the things that you can do, things that we work on in practice every day. Don't let the bright lights and the crowds change the way you play. I think he's gotten better at that. And times like last year, you would see that where he's consistent, and then all of a sudden, he'd go off the deep end a little bit. Just being honest, that's how we are. Yeah. And then we'd have to reel him back in. Hey, play within yourself. Do the things we talk about. Do the things we work on every day. Those boring things that we do every single day, that's what you need to do in games. And I think he's bought into that. Like the last 3 weeks, he's had an awesome perspective of practice, how he approaches it. He's been playing hard. I've even heard him use his voice. I was like, whoa, what? So I think he's mature, and I think he's ready to settle into that role a lot better than, the previous years, and we're looking forward to that. But he's got a supporting cast with him this year. So, but he is definitely going to be the big target. Whenever you see or hear about Lubbock Cooper, they're going to say Amari, and rightfully so. But we got some other pieces to go with him.
Yeah, he's very talented, and I think a lot of times his emotions can be his own worst enemy.
Yes.
And I witnessed something in I guess it was August at a football scrimmage. And one of the receivers, named Michael Deaver, who can kind of, have a hard time just getting frustrated and things like that, was having a bit of a moment. And Amari was sitting over there, and Amari is the one that went over and talked to Michael. And I thought, well, I thought, one, good for Amari. Like maybe you're whatever. But I also thought, pot me kettle. Like, look, see, this is what people try to. But I mean, maybe. Good for if Amari's watching this. I hope because you can't get these days back.
Right,
they are gone. These games, these opportunities, these to be with your buddies and hoop. But he's very talented. I know you've got a great relationship with him. I love visiting with Amari every time that I see him. But yeah, it's got to start there.
Absolutely.
There's some other. I think you had Pierce Miller really came on last year. Dane Collier, I think Bodie Marshall.
Yes.
You've got a couple of sophomores that I think are going to be a lot of fun. A couple of junior additions to the varsity. I'll let you kind of take that wherever you want. But in fact, you know what? Let's just go. Let's go with Pierce because I thought he was a good story last year. Maybe your best 3-point shooter or most consistent, and really kind of set you guys up to really finish up district strong last year.
Well, when it's funny. When I first put Pierce on varsity, I had some of the veteran guys, and I try to make sure that they can come in and they can talk to me. And they're like, "Coach, are you sure?" I said, "Well, I've been doing this gig for a long time, longer than you've been alive. I think I'm pretty sure." I said, "Just give the young man a chance." And Pierce never wavered. Now, as a young guy, did he make mistakes? Absolutely, but he played hard, and that's what as a coach, that's all you can ask for. He played hard. He asked questions. He watched film. He studied film. Him and his dad, it's funny. Him and his dad will be at home and they'll watch practice tapes and this and that because we put everything on huddle so we can always go back and say, we can check to see if you're watching film. And Pierce had a just relentless passion of learning and getting better. And it did. It showed late, especially late in the season when we needed to have somebody step up and be that consistent guy. I thought Pierce stepped in and did that role. He was good with the basketball. He answered the call on the offensive end, and even a lot of people don't give him credit for this, but when he gets down and plays defense, he's pretty good on the ball defender.
I tell you too. One of the best things about him is that there was a game last year that it was pretty much tied. He goes to the stripe, and I think he buried both of them. Youngest guy on the team, and I thought he's a big time free throw shooter. And just no heavy breathing, no whatever. And that in that particular game, it meant everything because I think it allowed you to. So, we see you, man. Bodie and Dane are two guys that have been with you for a while.
Absolutely.
Sam Marcinkowski is gonna rejoin after hoops and all that. But those are kind of some grizzled vet types that do their thing. But kind of take me through that group.
Well, those three you just talked about. It's a supporting cast. I mean, and all of them have a role for us. Before Sam gets over here, because football, and I hope football continues to go and plays as long as they possibly can. But Bodie has to play a big role for us this year right off the bat early. First and foremost, when I went into his home and we talked, I said, Bodie, I got to hear your voice. You got to talk to me. Talk to your players so they can hear, especially defensively. I said, it's great to lead by example, but we need to hear your voice, son.
Quiet teams get beat.
Yes, absolutely. And so we talked about that, and I said, here's another thing. You're going to challenge everything that comes toward the rim and toward the lane. You're going to have to be smart. That's because your eyes are so big guy right now that we're counting on to stay in the game. So you have to use all the things that people have taught you, and we've taught you how to stay between the man and the basket. Hands up, go get a rebound. Don't swat down at it. Those type of things. We got to keep you in the game. And he brings some toughness because he's not going to back down. And that's the thing that we love about him. He's going to keep coming. He's keep coming. And sometimes I'm like, okay, slow down. You got 3 fouls. Stop. And the same with Dane on the guard side. Dane is one of those guys. He's one of those streaky shooters. If he's hot, he's hot. If he's not, one of the things we worked on this summer and hopefully more so coming this year is, okay, do something different. Everybody knows that you're a streaky shooter, and if you get hot, you get hot. But what if they run you off the line? What are you going to do next? Okay, you got to bring that toughness. You got to mix it in there, go in there and get an and-one, the old-fashioned way. That's perfect. Put some pressure on them. And then, with Sam, when Sam comes, it's 100 or nothing, and that's what you love about him.
He's definitely not backing down.
Not going to back down, and he's going to bring that physicality, that toughness that we all need. And just like you said before we started this, we can all need some toughness. Yeah. We can all do that. So we're excited. Like I said, the supporting cast is the ones that are going to win a lot of games for us this year because we're going to give them some specific roles where they're comfortable in and where they can do their best job. And I think that's one of the things after the playoffs last year, watching and going back and dissecting, it's like, how can I put these guys in positions where they're going to be the most successful for this upcoming year? And I've tried to do that. And when Sam comes over from football, we're going to try to make sure we implement him in those roles where he's going to be the most successful.
Obi and Oswaji, and then Cade Gant. Cade's finishing up football right now. Known both of those young men for a long time. Cade's very talented, and Obi is as well. But kind of take me through those sophomore additions to your roster.
Absolutely. We'll start with Cade a little bit. Last year he's on the JV and he played a few games at the varsity level, and loved the way he played. And I know it was a big deal. He got a chance to play with his older brother. Yeah, and so that was a sweet situation. Connor was like that warrior for me. Cade has that same ability and more. He can shoot the ball a little bit better. And he loves the game. And I made that choice. I want to keep him down on JV so he can play more, so when next year comes, he's ready to roll. The sky's the limit for him. I mean, he can do a little bit of everything. He can dribble the basketball. He can shoot. He can play on the defensive end. He can run through passes. He has a total package. We're going to have to fine-tune it when it comes from football, but we're looking forward to it. Obi, again, he's been tenacious in the tryouts. He's been tenacious every day, and that's hard to bring every day for young guys. He doesn't back down. I mean, he'll get on a Martin, he'll get in his face, and he's playing, and I'm like, that's what I'm talking about.
Not intimidated.
Exactly, and that's what you got to be. I mean, if you're young coming in, don't respect the players. Absolutely, you respect everybody, but you back down from no one. Mm-hmm. You go right at them. Prove to me why they say you're good. I'm going to make sure I bring my A game. If you don't bring your A game, that's your fault. I'm going to bring mine. You match my intensity, and that's what he does.
And that's very, very good defender. And Cade, you're right, man. Cade's got all kinds of ability offensively. There was and I don't know if there was more than this, but there was a rules change with basketball.
Yes.
The way free throws are shot.
Yes.
There is no such thing as a 1-and-1 anymore. Every foul after 5 in each quarter is automatic 2 attempts. And it resets every quarter. Your thoughts on kind of why they did this? Does it change anything? I mean, just kind of, you take me through what the intent was here.
Well, I think it was UIL wanted to speed up the game a little bit. I don't know if they're going to, after this first year, if it's going to speed up the game or slow it down.
Okay.
Long drawn-out games, you get 7 fouls. Okay, it's 1-and-1, and it could last forever. So they're thinking, all right, we're going to kind of make the coaches make an adjustment. Because you think about how this
not foul as much.
Not foul as much. Because you're going to have to make adjustments, and you're going to see a lot more zones played this year more than ever. Because let's say the first quarter, in the first 2 minutes, you get 2 or 3 fouls. Okay, something's got to change. On that 5th foul, you're going to shoot 2 free throws. And then if you're smart, okay, if you got them already in that basically double bonus after that 5th foul, why take the ball a long 3 when you can drive it in there and force a foul? So it has changed. I've talked to a number of coaches in the Metroplex, and we're kind of just picking at each other's brains. How are you going to approach this when you get to basically 4 fouls in a quarter? How's your strategy change? Because it will. It'll change in every aspect of it. So, we want to push the basketball. We want to get up, and we don't always full court pressure, but we want like the 3 quarters and control the flow of the game. But if we're getting fouls, we have to change. And that's another thing. More of the game is going to be determined how the refs call it, and we have to make adjustments. And that's how it is.
I'm with the whole comment. Do you think, speaking of, because I think that this conversation until it ever changes, and even then they'll be like, okay, should we have done this? But will there ever be a shot clock?
I think it's coming.
Should be a shot clock?
I think it's coming. I think when it does, it's gonna 6A of course naturally is gonna be first. but I think it should come down to the 5A and 4A because you're trying to get those kids prepared and ready for the next level. You know that's
And sitting on the ball is not
going to
the next level.
No, not at all. You know, you go and watch. You go watch Tech. You go to LCU. Watch any college team. I mean, you cannot. They're pushing the basketball. They're getting the ball up as quick as possible. And they're playing great defense. I mean, this is the era for defense these last couple of years and for the future. But they're pushing the ball on the offensive side. And I think if we're sitting back here at the high school level doing the same thing we're doing now, how are we preparing our kids for the next level?
And I hear because I think style of play, there's no doubt. I hear the financial component to it. Mm-hmm. Install shot clocks, pay somebody to run it every time. You know, I get all that part, but I just it's hard to watch a game 42-40 when it's like, you know what, I'm just going to pass it for 3 minutes.
Yep.
It's not entertaining.
Correct. It is.
And it's supposed to be this stuff's supposed to be entertaining and fun and whatever. But again, I can't fault anybody for sitting on it. It's within the rules. You're playing it the way you want to. Who was Will Flemons' favorite hoops player growing up?
Dominique Wilkins.
Oh, the human highlight film. Yeah. That's a solid one, man, right there. And you know what's funny is like y'all's style of play was because you were like really like steady, fundamental. I just thought about like Dominique was one of those guys that was like, I don't know if he was a great defender, but I mean the slam dunks and the aerial attack, I mean, was like, oh my gosh,
Absolutely.
this dude 6'8" jumping like he's that's a great one, man. The Hawks,
Yes.
Kevin Willis, Dominique Wilkins, Spud Webb. I'm trying to think of some of those guys that were on his team. They could never get past the Pistons and Bulls and the Pacers and all those. Was favorite when you were a kid, favorite hoops team? Like, did you have a pro or college team that you kind of like, I really like? And even now,
right?
Not, you don't have to say like Tech or anything, but I mean, like, is there a program out there like, I really like the way that they play,
When you're growing up and you're watching basketball and your mom is a Celtics fan, so you naturally have to go against her for Lakers. But you appreciate Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, Dennis Johnson, all those guys because they absolutely played the game like it should have been played.
Man, you need to talk to you and Coach Isler need to have a conversation in the hallway because he almost said verbatim what you said. And he was tricked into, they lived no cable where he was at. It's like on a farm, but he would just rewatch these VHS tapes. But he never knew that it was a recording. It's like finally he learned like this is the same game, but he just thought he was watching it live, whatever. But it was always the Celtics. Yeah, that's great, man. Big fan of the Celtics, Lakers, and all that stuff. I know that basketball is about to get going, and you've got scrimmages, you've got lots of road trips. Mm-hmm. It gets to be where this is like some of the craziest time of the year for because you work all off season, kind of with your team and all that. And how many total kids are in the program now?
Well, right now we have
because I don't even know who's coming over from football, from freshmen and all that stuff, or JV even. But
well, you're looking at right now on the varsity roster we have 9, so we'll pick up about 3 from football for varsity. Okay. And on the JV we have about 8, so we'll pick up another 5 there. Okay. And then on the freshman group we have 7 players, and so definitely going to pick up somewhere between the lines of about 13 to 15 players.
Okay.
So, it's all in all, so you're basically having 21, 22 players in the freshman department, about 14.
So you got about 40 kids.
Yeah, about 40 kids. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's about to get, and shout out to Coach Lynch and Coach Schulte that help you with those younger teams as well.
No doubt.
And you know what? A guy that I think a lot of, I know you do too, but Coach Reich, man, does a really good job for you.
He does. Absolutely. He's my right-hand man.
Yeah. He's a good one to have. He's a good one to have. Well, Coach, man, we'll let you go on about your day.
Well, appreciate
May
it.
all your baskets, or may all those balls go in the basket there for the old Pirates this year. How about that?
That's what we say. We say we don't want to shoot them, we want to make them.
That's right. That's right. And hope is not a strategy. But that'll do it for this one. This has been another edition of Pirate Talk. For Wolf Flemons, for Chris Lovell, for Colton Coons behind the camera. We'll talk to you next time.